So, ladies and gentlemen, it sounds like Joe Brady will continue calling offensive plays in 2026, much to Buffalo Bills fans' dismay. What does that mean for the future offensive coordinator for this squad? Will we have trouble finding somebody that won't have that responsibility? Sounds like Jim Leonard is going to be the leading candidate for defensive coordinator. What would that mean for this defense? And last but not least, I am at the Senior Bowl right now, and I found a wide receiver that each and every single one of you need to be aware of. You already know the drill, folks. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up sign. And more importantly, sound off in the comments how far does Bills Mafia truly extend? Roll call and let me know where you are tuning in from. Folks, we're going to start off with Joe Brady. He is continuing to call offensive plays in the year 2026. And a lot of Bills fans are upset about this. I was sitting there and I was talking to my buddy Justin while we were at the Senior Bowl, and I had this theory, and I was hoping that I would have found that a lot of Joe Brady's play calling was personnel dependent. I looked at this Buffalo Bills organization, and I saw that really all we had was Khalil Shakir out of the slot, and the reason why Joe Brady wasn't calling a lot of downfield passing was largely due to the fact that we didn't have somebody that could fill that responsibility. So I went down this rabbit hole. I started looking at his first experience as the offensive coordinator in Carolina. I looked halfway through 2023 when he took over for Ken Dorsey. I looked at 2024 and I looked at 2025. And unfortunately, I have noticed a very particular trend. Each and every single one of those years, their quarterback was toward the bottom half of the league for average depth of target. So if anybody is hoping that somehow, some way that Joe is going to allow wide receivers to stretch the field, a lot more deep attempts from Josh Allen, unfortunately, it just doesn't really seem to be the case. I could be wrong. Maybe we can circle back to when he at least had some say in that LSU offense back in 2019. But at the end of the day, I think that it's going to be what we have grown used to. It's the short pass game. It's running the football, which I personally am very excited about. But it's just what we ultimately have to accept. Me, personally, I've never really been much for style points. It doesn't matter to me if we are just heaving piss missiles downfield each and every single week, or if we are just dinking and dunking our way to victory. Like it or not, whether that you like the short pass game style or you would much prefer Josh to be throwing it all over the field, this Buffalo Bills team still finished second and fourth in overall points. Whether or not that it's passing yards or whether or not that it's yak yards after the catch, as long as it gets me to a win, that is all I care about. Now, some people think that Josh Allen had a season where he was wildly productive with downfield passing. I got to tell you what, and this is typically a tough pill to swallow for quite a bit. When I look at Josh Allen's production downfield, right as you can see here, he has never finished top 10 in downfield accuracy. In 2025, he had a 39.1% completion percentage. That was 15th. And the year before, he was 26th in the NFL. In 2023, he was 27th. So at the end of the day, it's not like that QB1 is known for lighting up those downfield passes. So perhaps this is a good thing. I think that we should feel optimistic that we're not going to have to go through any drastic personnel or scheme changes going into 2026. And just add one more piece. Maybe the deep pass or the deep ball is not going to be a part of the equation, but we still can certainly bring guys in that can make sure we are deadly in the short and the intermediate side of the field. It's all about controlling time of possession. So like it or not, Joe Brady, he is going to be calling plays. Which brings me to my next question. Who is going to be the offensive coordinator? I feel like a lot of Bills fans were optimistic that Davis Webb would be intrigued in joining Brady's staff and working with Josh Allen once again. But I got to tell you, I don't think that that's a real possibility because per Adam Schefter yesterday, Davis Webb has already been approached by the Eagles, Giants, and Ravens. Now, what they can provide that Buffalo will not, more than likely all three of those organizations would give Davis Webb those responsibilities of being able to call plays. So how I look at this entire situation, it's probably going to be a time it's probably going to be an offensive coordinator that is just the guy that helps Brady out with pregame scheme, if you will. It's going to be tough. Does Buffalo ultimately end up promoting from within? I'm not entirely sure. However, while there's a lot of questions with the offensive coordinator, I can tell you there is some optimism about this piece of news, and that just so happens to be Jim Leonhard. He's the current passing defense coordinator for the Denver Broncos. And when I tell you that this guy is the most coveted future defensive coordinator in the league, I am not lying to you. If, for example, you watch college football for the past couple of years, his time in Wisconsin, he was an animal. Most of the Big Ten feared him when it came into his prowess with secondary and red zone defense. What I like about this guy is not only is he wildly aggressive, we're not going to have to do drastic changes to particularly what our scheme is in Buffalo. That's been a common theme within this entire hiring cycle is, yes, we understand we need to get Josh Allen over the hump, but at the end of the day, this team did not need to welcome in a guy that was going to completely flip our offensive and defensive scheme. Sounds like that this organization truly believed the reason we couldn't get over the hump was on Sean McDermott and Sean McDermott exclusively. If Leonhard comes in as a defensive coordinator, I'm feeling a hell of a lot better about Joe Brady being the head coach for this organization. Sign me up. And folks, right as you can see, I am live at the Reese Senior Bowl. This is my second year so far. We are at Radio Row. We just ended up having a couple of interviews with some prospects. We're going to be at practice here in, I'd say, about 2 or 3 hours. But we all know that Bills fans are really looking for a wide receiver in this draft. We're looking for one in free agency. We're also looking for one in the trade market. And I got to tell you what, man, I found a guy, and he just has Buffalo Bill written all over him. Let me introduce you to a Georgia State wide receiver by the name of Ted Hurst. Hands down, he had the most impressive play out of anybody in the group on day one, and I just want you to peep and take a look at this. As you can see, his feet are quick on press man coverage. He creates instant separation against the DB from the SEC, and look at that one-handed grab in the end zone. I swear to you, he's one of the most athletic wide receivers I have seen out of the Senior Bowl already, and I feel like a lot of us need to be paying attention to him. You've probably heard me say this, but so far in my draft analysis and my research, I have not noticed many wide receivers that are worthy of a first-round pick, maybe one, maybe two, and both of those guys are not going to fall anywhere near to 26 or anywhere near to where I think it's possible for Buffalo to trade up. So you've heard me say this. When it comes into our wide receiver room, I feel like we need to do a giant double dip, free agency, a trade, and then we also need to draft somebody in the second and or the third round. And if that guy just so happens to be Ted Hurst from Georgia State, sign me up. I really think that he would be a needle mover for this organization. As far as other prospects outside of wide receiver, we need to understand that Matt Milano and likely Shaq Thompson will be gone. So we need to completely revamp our linebacker room. And I got to tell you, a guy that really impressed me yesterday, that just so happens to be Kyle Lewis out of Pitt. He excels in coverage. While I think I have some concerns when it comes into his run blocking or his run defense metrics, I want you to look at how he runs this route like a damn the interception. He is deadly in coverage. I believe that he is going to be a Matt Milano replacement, and I would roll out the red carpet for this guy to be a day one contributor going into 2026. So certainly pay attention, guys. I am going to be putting out as much Senior Bowl content as humanly possible. I hope you stick around for that. Folks, I sincerely appreciate you tapping in with me once again for another edition of the Dom Mafia Report. Again, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. My goal is 100,000 subscribers by the year 2027. We want to grow this family to new heights. I love each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for your loyalty and making the show a part of your daily routine, and we will see you tomorrow. Go Bills.